Hello and welcome to the Aunty Lisa show. Ba, ba, ba. Today we'll do a story with all of us, a spaceship, the moon, that works, that's lucky, I didn't do that on purpose, a cone snail, a tunnel, and Chad. So that should be, easy peasy. One day, Aunty Lisa, Aleksander and Kristoffer decided to go to the moon. Because why wouldn't you? It's made of cheese. At least that's what I've heard. So, they packed their bags and they put in their bags such useful things as binoculars and telescopes so you could see things, and some snacks, obviously, and a drink. And they set off for their spaceship, which was super cool, brand new spaceship that Aunty Lisa had got for her birthday. It was a pretty good birthday that year. She got a spaceship. So, in they hopped into their spaceship. And they had invited along with them their good friend Chad. Because, did you know what? Chad, he's a policeman, but he's also rather handy on a space adventure, because he knows a surprising amount about the solar system and stars and planets and the moon. And he loves being an astronaut in his spare time. So Chad came along too. Anyway, now I've dropped one bit. Anyway, so everyone got inside the spaceship. The rocket ship, I suppose it is. And they strapped themselves in. And Aunty Lisa said, right, we are going to the moon. And Chad said, okay, I'm going to count down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll go to the moon, everybody. And Aleksander and Kristoffer, high five. Woohoo, let's go to the moon. So, strap themselves in. And Chad said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. And Aunty Lisa pressed the button that makes you blast off. And it went and didn't go anywhere. And Aleksander said, Aunty Lisa, have you left the brakes on again? Aunty Lisa went, oh yes, I've left the brakes on. Sorry. Up and up and up and up and through the Earth's atmosphere, up into space. Wow. They zoomed so fast that everybody's faces did this. That's what happens when you zoom up into space. But as soon as you get out of Earth's atmosphere, they go, wow. It was gonna be so much fun. They had a little bit of time before they were gonna get to the moon, so they decided to do some floating around inside the spaceship. So everyone took off their seatbelts, and Aleksander and Kristoffer practiced doing backflips in zero gravity, like whoo. And they practiced doing cool stuff, like throwing a Malteser in the air and just snatching it. And if you want a drink in the middle of space, you can just do a little blob into the air and go, yeah. It was great fun. Everyone had a lovely time. And they ate some of their snacks, obviously. And then it was time to land on the moon. So they came into the moon's orbit. Yes. They circled the moon for a little while. And then Aunty Lisa said, right, everybody, we're going to land on the moon. You've got to get strapped back in. Could be a bumpy ride. So everybody got strapped back into their seats. And Aunty Lisa went, okay, everybody, we ready? Steady, and landing! Kristoffer said, Aunty Lisa, have you put the rocket into reverse so we can land? And Aunty Lisa went, oh yes. And they landed on the moon. Now, it was time for a moonwalk. Not the kind of moonwalk where you go backwards and walk in with your feet still on the ground, but an actual moonwalk where you float around a bit. And everyone put on their moonwalking suits with a big helmet, because on the moon there is no air. Yes, no air. You can't breathe. So they all climbed out of the rocket and started jumping about on the moon. And it was great fun. Everyone was like, boom, boom, boom. Wow. Aunty Lisa started cutting bits of moon off to make some cheese sandwiches. And she put them in her bag. That was very important because Gug was keen to try moon cheese. He likes cheese. Anyway, by and by, they went for a stroll on the moon. And they were looking around when all of a sudden, Kristoffer said, hey, Aunty Lisa, what's that over there? Aunty said, oh, it looks like a tunnel. Aleksander said, oh, it's a tunnel. I wonder where it goes. And Chad said, ooh, that could be dangerous. Aleksander, are you sure? I don't think we should go inside the tunnel. Aunty Lisa said, I agree, Chad. I don't think we should go inside the tunnel. But let's just have a little peek. A little peek. Who's brought their torch? Well, luckily, Aleksander and Kristoffer had both packed their torches. So off they went to investigate the tunnel. The tunnel was quite big. It was big enough that you could, if you wanted to, walk inside it. And they peered inside with their torches. It was very dark inside. And they went, can't see anything, Aunty Lisa. Maybe we could just go a few steps inside the tunnel. Aunty Lisa and Chad looked at each other and went, okay. A few steps inside the tunnel will be fine. And they walked in a little bit further. It seems to be okay this far in, Aunty Lisa. How about we just go maybe a couple more steps inside the tunnel? Not too far. We can still see the way out. It's okay. Aunty Lisa looked at Chad and Chad looked at Aunty Lisa and went, well, it would be kind of cool to see what's inside this tunnel. Maybe we'll find new life. Whoa. We'll be famous. So they walked and walked a little bit further inside the tunnel. All of a sudden, they noticed something moving up ahead. And they went, what's that? I didn't know there was anything that would move on the moon. Maybe it's a robot like the Mars rover. It's been left here and it needs us to rescue it so that the scientists back on Earth can keep investigating the moon's surface. Wait, is it the moon rover or the Mars rover? Regardless, there's probably one on the moon too. Maybe. Anyway, so Aleksander and Kristoffer said, well, we better go a teeny tiny bit further into the tunnel and see what it is. By this point, they were getting a little bit far away from the entrance of the tunnel. Aunty Lisa was a bit nervous. She said, okay, just a teeny tiny bit further into the tunnel. Just so we can see whatever it was that was moving down there, right? Well, they moved a little bit further into the tunnel and they shone that light. And then something happened. Oh no. Something had spiked Chad. And he went, ow, my leg. And and he passed out on the floor. And Aunty Lisa went, "Oh no, I knew we shouldn't have gone inside the tunnel, you guys. Now look what's happened." And then, "Ow, my leg," said Aunty Lisa as she collapsed in a heap. "Oh, ow." Aleksander and Kristoffer looked at each other and went, "Oh no, something, an alien maybe, has zapped Aunty Lisa and Chad. This is a nightmare. We should not have gone inside this tunnel. What are we going to do?" Now, Aleksander said, "Right, I'll pull Aunty Lisa and you pull Chad. Let's get out of here, Kristoffer." Kristoffer said, "Okay." Kristoffer, luckily, gravity is less on the moon. So Aunty Lisa and Chad were surprisingly light. And Aleksander and Kristoffer pulled them and pulled them and pulled them. But they were like, "What on earth was it? We need to know what it was so we can give them the right medicine." Just as they were thinking that, they spotted it. It was a cone snail on the moon. A giant alien cone snail, a species of which had never been seen before, had managed to survive on the moon. And it was angry about people being inside its tunnel. Aleksander and Kristoffer went, "Ah, a cone snail on the moon? This is a nightmare. Quick, pull them out of the way." So the cone snail started chasing them. Now in zero gravity, actually cone snails can move quite fast because they don't have the weight of themselves so much. That's right. And Aleksander and Kristoffer went, "No!" Quickly, quick as a flash, Aleksander slung Aunty Lisa over his back like a fireman's carry. And Kristoffer did the same with Chad. And they ran and they ran and they ran. And this cone snail was like, and it kept shooting out darts. And it just missed Aleksander and Kristoffer as they ran and they ran. And they looked back and there were 2 cone snails, then 3, then 4, then 5. An army of cone snails was following them. But they were just out of reach. They threw Aunty Lisa and Chad aboard the rocket ship and jumped inside behind them. And slammed the door just as more cone snail darts hit the outside of the rocket ship. "Whew," said Aleksander. "That was a bit close. We better get out of here." Aunty Lisa and Chad were still passed out and completely useless. So Kristoffer and Aleksander slung them into their rocket ship chairs and strapped them in. And then Aleksander and Kristoffer took the chairs that sat at the controls and they strapped themselves in. Aleksander went, "Do you know how to fly this thing?" Kristoffer went, "How hard can it be? Aunty Lisa can do it." He said, "Good point. Right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And they pressed the takeoff button. And then they released the brake. And the spaceship went away from the moon. As they glanced down, herds of angry cone snails were looking up at them. But there was nothing those cone snails could do. Aleksander, Kristoffer, Aunty Lisa and Chad were escaping to safety. By and by, they made it back to the Earth's atmosphere. They said, "Right, we got to land this thing, but we're going to need to get some medical help. We're going to need some help to remedy these cone snail darts that have got Aunty Lisa and Chad, the only people we know with cone snail dart experience are the octonauts." "Right, I tell you what, we'll land in the sea," said Kristoffer, "and then we'll get some help from the octonauts." Aleksander said, "Are you sure about landing in the sea?" Kristoffer said, "Actually, it's usually the way people do land and when they come back from a space trip. And you have a special parachute and it works brilliantly." So, they called up Captain Barnacles. And Captain Barnacles said, "Oh my goodness, What has happened to poor Aunty Lisa and Chad? I will get them some medicine ready. You guys land in the sea and we'll meet you there, okay? So, Kristoffer and Aleksander landed, or set the rocket into land mode and blasted out the parachute. And the rocket went splash into the ocean. And then bobbed up to the surface because it floats. Thank goodness. And it was bobbing around on the surface. And Aleksander and Kristoffer opened up the hatch. And there in front of them was Captain Barnacles on top of the octopod. He said, "Hello there! We've got some medicine ready for Aunty Lisa and Chad. Peso's going to bring it over." Peso jumped out and jumped onto the rocket ship and into the rocket ship. And he said, "Oh my goodness, these guys, they're all out cold." Aunty Lisa and Chad were like, "I've got some special medicine injections for them. Hold on a minute." Aunty Lisa and Chad went, "Ooh, what happened?" Wow. When Aleksander and Kristoffer had finished explaining about the giant cone snails on the moon that had shot them with the cone snail darts, Aunty Lisa and Chad could not believe their ears. They said, "What? No way were there cone snails on the moon." And Aleksander said, "There was cone snails on the moon. On reflection, Aunty Lisa, probably shouldn't have gone in that tunnel, should we?" Aunty Lisa said, "No." "Never mind. Hey, did you take some good pictures?" Kristoffer went, "Yes, I recorded it all because we have been wearing cool video cameras on our helmets. We'll be able to watch it back later." So, later that day, they all had a party round Aunty Lisa's house and watched back all the footage of the amazing cone snails. And they ate ice cream and popcorn and cups of tea to celebrate not being eaten by cone snails. And they shared all of the video footage with scientists. And the scientists said it was the most amazing thing they'd ever seen. And they gave Aleksander, Kristoffer and Aunty Lisa and Chad a special science prize for finding a new species on the moon. And that is the end of the story. Love you. Night night.